It was a perfect evening, my engagement party. Candlelight bathed the room, laughter mingling with clinking glasses. I almost felt happy, naively believing everything was right. My sister, Katie, looked uneasy. Her eyes, framed by long lashes, flickered with anxiety as she whispered nervously with a friend in the corner. Yet I couldn't fathom why. Just when the night embraced its peak, Katie stood abruptly, her voice quivering as she interrupted the cheer. "He's not who you think he is, Hannah." She held up her phone, trembling, revealing a photo of Ethan wrapped in another's arms. My heart instantly shattered into painful, irretrievable pieces. Ethan stood frozen, his face ashen and exposed. Our guests exchanged shocked glances, the room's warmth vanished, replaced by a suffocating chill. Mom's hand landed softly on my shoulder, trying to comfort me. I stood numb, the destruction of trust echoing endlessly in my mind amidst the now frigid night air. I could hear Katie's voice loop, "You deserve better," reverberating, striking at my already wounded heart. Everything seemed to unravel into confusion and hurt. Tears welled up and blurred everything as I fled, knocking over chairs in my hurried escape. The need to be alone consumed every thought. Once outside, the night air was sharp and clear against my cheeks, contrasting the suffocating heaviness in my chest. All warmth felt drained from my life. The night seemed endless, each minute stretching into agony. I leaned against a lamppost, my heart aching with each repeat of the betrayal in my head. In that heavy moment, I wondered if trust was something I'd ever reclaim. The question echoed loudly, even as the street remained silent. I slowly walked back inside to face the guests, each step resonating with new resolve, mixed with dread of the unknown. The air was thick with scrutiny. People murmured, their sympathetic looks like needles probing into the fresh wound. Yet, I forced my shoulders upright, holding on to dignity. Ethan approached, eyes pleading, trying to explain under a facade of contrition. But the words "I'm sorry" felt hollow and bitter. His excuses collided with my seething hurt, a storm quietly brewing within. I couldn't listen any longer, knowing what needed to happen next. I turned to Katie, my heart full of gratitude and sorrow. She looked back, her eyes shining with both relief and sadness, our silent sisterhood stronger than ever. The reality of ending this chapter settled in gently, yet firmly. I voiced the breakup aloud, my heart heavy but clear. Guests gasped, eyes wide with the finality. Walking away felt like reclaiming myself. Each step away from Ethan was like shedding the chains of this betrayal. I felt lighter, though scarred. Alone in my bedroom, memories flooded back. I sank onto the bed, the solitude allowing tears to spill unrestrained. Cathartic, painful sobs. Katie entered quietly, her presence a balm to my shattered heart. We sat together, her arm around me, silent support in the quietude of the aftermath. A week later, I sifted through remnants of our life together. A burden lifted as I packed away traces of him, each box a layer of closure. Katie helped, the laughter slowly infusing the room as we uncovered little things that no longer held power over me, but now felt like stories of growth. Amongst the packing, I found Ethan's letter, a final attempt to reconcile. The words were empty promises that, surprisingly, didn't stir the pain like before. Letting go was gradual. Each day, I felt myself stitching together a new quilt of self-worth, slowly mending the open wounds of betrayal. I took time to explore new things, finding solace in books, rediscovering forgotten hobbies, and moments filled with self-love I'd long neglected. Life's pace gradually shifted, bringing new friendships like gentle rivers, reshaping the landscape of my heart. I felt a resurgence of hope. Trust, although fragile, slowly mended. It was a tender shoot breaking ground, guarding closely, yet allowing new connections to form. I stood by the window one evening, reflecting on everything. The journey had been painful, but I saw a me I hadn't before, strong and full of growth. Looking outward, I saw endless possibilities. I realized then that my story didn't end. It was simply turning a new page, with hope painting each stroke. Embracing the night sky, I felt peace wash over, mingling with anticipation for all to come. The future stretched ahead like a comforting embrace. Weeks blurred with wedding prep, ticking closer to a life I thought I wanted, a constant unease lingering. My sister asked if I was truly happy, eyes probing me over lunch. I laughed off my sister's concern, yet couldn't shake the heaviness in my chest. Ethan's late nights fed my uneasy dreams, leaving them dark and restless every night. I convinced myself it was just stress, normal pre-wedding jitters. I buried myself in choosing flower arrangements, but the chill in my bones only grew stronger and more persistent. My sister's question haunted me, her words echoing despite the smile I wore like armor. Beneath it was a nagging feeling of something amiss, something sinister. I dismissed her probing, yet anxiety twisted within me, refusing to be ignored. Ethan's mysterious late nights cast shadows, deepening the pits of my stomach with doubt. The illusion of happiness I painstakingly maintained threatened to shatter. I watched Ethan leave for another late night, cold unease creeping over me. What was I refusing to see? I peered out at Ethan's retreating figure, and a knot formed, a silent plea for clarity within me, pressing for a resolution soon. I gripped the illusion tightly, hoping it would hold. Yet, beneath closed eyelids at night, the anxiety swirled, its presence undeniable, whispering truths I wanted to ignore. During brunch with friends, their laughter resonated with my own hollow chuckles. I felt disconnected, playing a role on an autopilot, wishing for authenticity. At home, the house felt too quiet, shadows stretching deeper than they ought to. Setting the wedding invitations on the table felt almost surreal. As if detached from reality, unexpectedly, I stumbled upon a late-night bank statement with strange charges, fueling the fire of suspicion inside me. My heart pounded with hidden truths. Confronting Ethan felt like stepping into a storm I feared. He stood there, his smile evasive, leaving an emptiness that gnawed within me. The man in his early 30s, unwavering gaze met mine, yet there seemed an ocean between us as my questions met with vague answers, solidifying my doubts. After Ethan's unanswered questions, I sought refuge in solitude, pacing the garden under moonlight, an attempt to find clarity, though feeling the shadows surrounding me. The engagement ring felt cold and heavy, a symbol weighed down by uncertainties I couldn't shake. Staring at it didn't provide answers I desperately sought. In a moment of unexpected clarity, I realized I had to uncover the truth beneath the layers of excuses. Tenacity replaced my hesitance, fueling a cautious resolve. I explored the trail of Ethan's actions, discovering unchecked messages on his phone, unveiling things he desperately hid, dropping pieces of illusion into reality. The revelations broke my defensive walls. Sharp tears welled up but didn't break fully, raw emotions of betrayal unspooled like a tension thread unwinding. Confronting Ethan was inevitable, the air heavy with words unsaid. His silent defensiveness confirmed truths unspoken, painful, yet undeniable. The audacity of Ethan's justifications only fueled my resolve to forge my path alone, determination rising amidst emotional debris, pushing for self-reclamation. Armed with resolve, I shut the door to Ethan, an act symbolic of choices reclaimed, surprise mixed with my courage, opening a landscape of unknown possibilities. A surprise call disrupted my reflections, a voice offering unexpected support, a life raft amidst emotional waves. Shaking the stillness I drowned in too long, a burst of laughter filled my living room, a friend's hilarity lightening the weight in my heart, offering respite from solitude, reigniting a spark I thought lost. I took the first steps toward life rebuilt, uncertainty but also hope marking the path untraveled before. Echoes of authenticity replaced whispers of unease. Strength surged within me, casting aside past shadows. I embraced a future, unburdened by halves, craving whole truths and dreams uncorrupted. I rebuilt connections lost. My sister, puzzled by the honesty in my voice, offered support unconditionally, anchoring me back to myself. I navigated through vulnerability, the anchor that steadied, but also revealed growth, amidst raw honesty manifesting amidst silent acceptance around. Light filled once shadowed spaces, my life's tapestry woven anew, colored by authentic living, and strength rooted deeply inside my rediscovered self. With slow, steady steps, I moved toward a life reframed, trust and hope interwoven, unafraid of shadows lurking, feeling grounded and genuinely seen. Loneliness turned into solitude, peaceful, reflective of strength formed from genuine truths, and reclaimed dreams amid life's uncertain tides and promised tomorrows. The pressure mounted in the weeks leading to the engagement party. Everyone expected perfection, but my heart wasn't in sync with my mind's mantra. Ethan would tell me, "We're almost there, Hannah," kissing my forehead with a warmth that felt a little too practiced. I tried to be the supportive fiancé, ignoring unanswered texts and calls, busied myself with last details, clinging to our public image of love. In quiet moments, doubts whispered. I scrolled through Ethan's social media, searching for confirmation, for anything to quell my fears. All I saw were smiles and carefully curated posts. Life that looked perfect but felt anything but. Friends asked if I was okay, their concerns adding another layer to the facade. Of course, I'd say, feigning breeziness. It was easier to play along than confront the potential catastrophe looming in the silence between our conversations. Exhausted, my resolve wore thin. Was my commitment to our future misguided? Forced smiles slipped away too quickly. I feared what truth I might find. Late at night, doubts echoed louder, breaking the silence of my dark bedroom. I picked up the phone, my hand shaking slightly as I dialed the number I'd been avoiding. The line rang endlessly, magnifying my fear with each unanswered call, echoing like a haunting melody. I hung up, frustration boiling over into tears of uncertainty, feeling the weight of doubts crashing down. Amidst tears, a message pinged through. It was Ethan. My heart raced, struggling between hope and dread. The message was sweet but hollow, promising loving gestures without substance, leaving me adrift in uncertainty. Conflicted, I sat by the window, watching the rain tap rhythmically, both soothing and magnifying my heartache. Ethan was late again. I waited alone in the restaurant, feeling the weight of public eyes on our absent story. The waiter approached, hesitation in his voice. His eyes lingered sympathetically as he noted Ethan's continued absence. Every couple around me seemed blissful, contrasting sharply with my empty table. I felt a pang of loneliness. The engagement party loomed closer, yet each preparation felt like a notch, tightening the noose around my doubts. My friends noticed my strain. Their gentle jokes couldn't pierce the veil of anxiety I'd wrapped around myself. I stood outside, wind whipping through my hair, trying to breathe through the tightness of impending expectations. Ethan's car pulled up to the driveway, but his delay spoke of deeper issues than traffic. I confronted Ethan, words tumbling out in a rush. The truth we'd avoided hung heavily in the air. Ethan was silent, his eyes revealing a vulnerability I hadn't expected. Hope flickered amidst the tension. The engagement party arrived, but I couldn't shake the lingering doubts that shadowed the day's bright facade. Guests mingled around, laughter masking my inward struggle, as I stood with Ethan, who masked his own unease. Overwhelmed, I slipped away to a quiet corner, craving solitude amidst the lively celebration. Ethan found me, offering a quiet support I hadn't felt in ages. We shared a moment, unspoken, but profound. In that quiet moment, doubts didn't disappear, but softened enough to let a glimmer of hope shine through. Together, we faced the party anew, eyes forward with a fragile, evolving understanding of what we truly wanted. My engagement party was supposed to be a celebration, but I felt uneasy as soon as I stepped into the elegantly decorated venue bathed in golds and whites. I moved among the guests, my laughter sounding hollow against the background music. My sister's presence, always nearby, only heightened my inner turmoil. She watched me closely, her unwavering gaze nearly unbearable. It was as if she knew exactly what I feared, her silent concern suffocating under the pretense of joy. Right before the toast, my sister took my hand, the strength of her grip betraying the urgency in her eyes. She told me she needed to show me something important. Her words, "Trust me," pulled at the unspoken emotions between us. My heart pounded, straddling the line between fear and necessity. With hesitant steps, I followed my sister away from the party, the crowd's chatter fading behind us, the unknown ahead feeling suffocating. My stomach twisted as she handed me her phone. The images on the screen confirmed my worst fears about my fiancé, a betrayal laid bare in digital form. Dazed, I leaned against the cold wall. The pictures repeated their damning tale of infidelity as I struggled to process the betrayal. I couldn't breathe. Everything felt surreal, the room spinning with the betrayal that shattered my expectations, my engagement, my life. As the gravity of the revelation settled, anger surged within me, hot, consuming, and I knew there was no going back. My sister stood quietly beside me, her presence grounding as I decided on my next move. Confronting this betrayal, I returned to the party, anger simmering beneath the surface. I had to end this farce without letting it consume me. Facing my fiancé, I felt a mix of pain and resolve harden my expression. I'll never forget the smug smile he wore, believing he was still in control. In front of everyone, I showed him the images, his arrogant confidence crumbling into fleeting shock as the crowd murmured around us. Gasps and whispers spread like wildfire among the guests. The dramatic turn of events painted a vivid and unforgiving picture. I stood firm, my resolve unyielding despite the emotional turmoil. My betrayal was now exposed, raw, and undeniable. My fiancé's facade slipped entirely, panic replaced. His earlier smug demeanor, his eyes darting for an escape that wasn't there. With so many eyes watching, his power over me vanished. An empty shell. I was no longer trapped in his deception. People I once thought were allies scattered, validating my sense of isolation. But I also knew it marked the beginning of a new phase. I turned toward my sister, her presence warm and understanding. Her smile was weary, but full of support. We stepped outside, the brisk night air invigorating, washing away the remnants of my once enchanted evening, now forever changed. In silence, under the stars, an unspoken bond between us strengthened. We knew that family love endured more than deceptions could break. My path ahead was unclear, but my heart felt lighter. I began to see the future in a different light, gratitude wrapping around me. With each step away from the venue, the weight of the betrayal lessened. I was transitioning into a fresh chapter of my life. Her reassuring presence reminded me I was never truly alone. My sister's loyalty held more strength than any betrayal I'd faced. A quiet understanding had replaced the festivity, the truth freeing us both. We embraced the clarity that had eluded me for so long. With dawn approaching, hope began to blossom. I knew healing would take time, but in that moment, I felt truly alive and unshackled. The night had taken much, yet given me clarity. Stepping forward, I embraced the open path with a heart ready for change. My sister's quiet presence was a reminder. I've survived and emerged stronger. The love we shared was a foundation I could rebuild on. This was my turning point. With the past night behind me, I was ready to start anew, embracing both the uncertainty and potential of my path ahead. When Ethan stood, caught in the harsh light of truth, the air in the room froze, and the tether of my misguided trust snapped. I could barely hear my thoughts over the pounding in my ears, the quiet gasps around me like thunderclaps. Ethan's face twisted as he tried to muster an explanation, but nothing came out except desperation in his eyes. Ethan whispered, "Hannah, listen, please." But it was too late. His voice cracked like his empty promises. My sister's hand squeezed mine firmly, anchoring me, as the betrayal laid raw, demanded acknowledgement. The tablecloth's elegance mocked the moment's gravity, making my throat tighten from choked emotions. Through blurred vision, I saw a tapestry of reactions in the assembled faces: pity, support, judgment, and empathy. The weight of their gazes didn't make my knees buckle. Instead, it fueled my resolve to leave. Turning away, I left the haunted room behind, walking out of the life I had crafted so lovingly. The door swung shut with finality behind me, leaving a muted, calm aftermath in its wake. I drifted aimlessly through the streets, catching glimpses of my reflection under the streetlights, feeling adrift, yet resolute. The quiet whir of traffic was comforting, constant of the city that never judged, just kept moving forward. The chill of the night seeped into my bones, yet the cold felt strangely invigorating. Each step, a whisper telling me of stories unlearned and lessons realized right now. It's time to reclaim myself. The memories wrapped around me like a heavy cloak, familiar yet deeply burdensome. I took a deep breath, realizing that each exhale released a part of the past, making room for something new. The wind whispered my name, urging me onward, away from echoes of what had been. Stars twinkled above, indifferent and aloof, yet providing me with a sense of small comfort in the vastness. A sudden quiet descended. A cat darted across my path, a glimpse of life continuing amidst change. A bench invited me to pause, if only for a heartbeat. I sat down, weary yet feeling the stirrings of hope. My mind spun with possibilities. the warmth of dawn beginning to break the edge of the horizon. Inhaling deeply, I felt dawn's warmth seep in, the horizon unfurling like a canvas of new opportunities. A stranger smiled kindly as they passed by, a small sign that connection remains, even on uncharted paths. Casting off the burdens of yesterday, I felt lighter stepping forward, powered by the esteem of today's desires. With each step, my heart whispered anew promises to myself, more resolute and authentic. The crisp morning air filled my lungs as I stood, future unfolding before my eyes more tangible than ever. For the first time, the horizon didn't intimidate me. It called to me, a siren's beckoning to chart my own course. With each new dawn, I unfurled more like the world itself, opening before hopeful eyes. Reveling in the freedom of new choices, I danced with the wanderlust winds. The earth was my firmament anew. With unburdened steps, I journeyed onward, the echoes of all past and future footsteps whispering encouragement. Sitting on my childhood bed, the room felt suffocating. Memories of Ethan echoed, promises made in hushed tones, now revealed as fragile mirages. Staring at the ceiling, its old cracks mirrored the fractures in my heart. Despair seemed a tempting escape, enveloping me in its dark embrace. "You deserve better," my sister's voice echoed. Doubt gnawed at my soul amidst the early morning light, the betrayal heavy and suffocating. Ethan's haunting actions weren't the only ghosts. My own complicity tormented me, the blind eye I turned, the doubts I silenced amid love or fear. Pain surged through every fiber, loneliness hard to ignore. Yet beneath despair, a voice said this was the reckoning, lies unveiled at last. What comes after dreams shatter? How to rebuild from ruins. Sitting in that room, possibilities felt distant, yet hope flickered beneath despair. I wandered into the kitchen. Echoes of family dinners felt hollow. Here, the weight of shattered dreams seemed to thud louder than ever. Alone in my own thoughts, the stir of the kettle was rhythmic, a reminder that life goes on, even when all else seems irreparably broken. The soft whoosh of the kettle releasing steam, mirroring my own pent-up sorrow. It was strange how everyday sounds could match inner turmoil. Turning from the kettle, a tender whiff of tea reminded me of better days, moments shared, innocence lost in the shadow of betrayal. Suddenly, I heard a ping from my phone, a message from Ethan. My heart raced with dread and curiosity. Shadows deepened around me. Staring at the screen, Ethan's words felt like needles, promises made and broken, weaving the tapestry of our shattered future. The kitchen became a stage for my broken heart, each corner a silent spectator to the drama of love lost and trust violated. Silence was suddenly shattered as my sister's voice broke through, asking if I was all right. Her concern was a fragile bridge over turmoil. I managed a weak smile, nodding as if her words could glue together the shards of my broken trust. Her presence was a gentle balm. I found myself sinking into a chair, exploring the depths of my sorrow. Every heartbreak was a lesson etched in solitude. Outside, birds sang with deceptive cheerfulness. The world was indifferent, a backdrop for my silent struggle with despair and resolution. The sunlight outside hinted at potential, but my heart remained heavy, caught between the threads of betrayal and the chance of a new beginning. As I closed the window, the world outside seemed distant. My emotions swirled, an internal storm masked by the calm exterior of my home. I decided to step outside finally, the fresh air, a mix of liberation and uncertainty. It was a first hesitant step toward healing. The street held echoes of laughter from kinder times. A shadow of who I once was lingered with every step I took alone. The park offered solace, yet whispers of past happy moments haunted me. How could the world appear unchanged while I was completely altered? A child's laughter sobered me, innocence untainted by the burdens of adulthood. What would I give for that purity, that simple joy again? The park became a refuge, a place where both despair and hope blended. Sitting there, my heart wavered between letting go and holding on. A soft breeze brushed across my face, whispering promises of a new chapter. Could healing be just a breeze away, amidst nature's gentle caress? I drew in breath, ready to face what lay ahead. Every heartbreak was a step, building resilience I hadn't realized within me before. The path was uncertain, yet as I walked away from the park, hope flickered through the heaviness. Each step marked my progress. I knew healing would take time. Yet, each sunset was a reminder of resilience, the promise of dawn after the darkest nights. Thoughts of Ethan still lingered, swirling like distant clouds, but I no longer let them weigh me down. Acceptance was slowly settling in. As the last light faded, I felt a new strength arise. It wouldn't be easy, but I finally believed in the possibility of a brighter tomorrow. I awoke to the smell of pancakes and faint laughter coming from the kitchen, an unfamiliar warmth in the air. It was my sister cooking, and I cracked the door open to see her. My sister, a woman in her early 30s, with a heart-shaped face and bright eyes, was flipping pancakes at the stove. Her smile seemed to promise everything would be all right. She motioned to a chair at the kitchen table, and I felt the smallest tug of hope. It was as though her smile said, "You're not alone." I sat down as she set a plate in front of me, syrup pooling around the pancakes. Her smile was a lifeline I didn't know I needed. Over syrup-coated bites, her voice broke through my chaos, reassuring me I didn't deserve what happened. Her words were a soothing balm. As her words settled in, I felt them anchor me, bringing a much-needed steadying to my chaotic mind. The message of hope was clear and strong. Clarity pierced through my doubt, her belief in me evident. Those bonds were undeniable, a lifeline I'd finally let myself grasp. That moment marked a shift. My sister's comfort hinted at strength, urging me to confront what was holding me back. I no longer wished to remain broken. Her unwavering support made me realize I had to reclaim myself from Ethan's betrayal. The desire to change was becoming overwhelming. By the time breakfast ended, I knew I couldn't continue as a casualty. I needed to confront Ethan and gather the pieces of my life. I walked to my room and realized it was time to reclaim what was mine, beginning with my own self-worth. I gathered my thoughts. In the quiet of my room, I picked up my phone, the weight of Ethan's betrayal tangible yet surmountable. It was time to call him. With trembling fingers, I dialed Ethan's number, trying to steady my breathing. I needed to face the truth, even if it shattered illusions. The phone rang. My heart pounded a fierce rhythm. I braced for confrontation. No more delays. Clarity demanded strength. Hearing Ethan's voice was both familiar and alien. I inhaled deeply, ready to do what I hadn't before. Speak my truth. I spoke firmly, telling him the hurt he caused me. My heart raced, yet my conviction solidified with each word. Ethan's silence was more telling than any argument. I felt a release, realizing this was what was needed. Truth was liberating. Hanging up, I felt an unexpected lightness. Clarity settled in, an unfamiliar yet welcome companion. I stepped outside for fresh air, taking in the morning's invigorating crispness. The world felt open with possibility. Standing on the porch, the weight of past insecurities began to slip away. The sun hinted at a new beginning, whispering promises. Turning back inside, I felt grounded and ready to rebuild with each step. I had my sister, and more importantly, I had my sense of self. I realized that life's complexity couldn't be unpicked in a day. I needed trust and time. My sister was my constant. Her unwavering belief gave me strength I'd forgotten in myself, and I knew that with her, I could face whatever came next. The house felt different now, filled with possibilities and healing, rather than memories tainted by the past. It felt like home again. Deciding to face Ethan empowered me with a newfound strength. I was no longer afraid to demand the respect I deserved. I felt like I had redefined my identity in this shift, standing taller than before. I was ready for this new path, crafted on faith in myself. Taking steps forward, I walked towards more than just the door ahead. I was entering a future genuinely mine. Possibilities were endless. Clarity and hope intertwined, melding into a vision of the future I could embrace, a future of my own making, with its twists and shifts. Finally, strengthened by what was once devastation, I realized my journey was defined by resilience. My sister's support meant everything. Whatever awaited wasn't for me alone. I was ready with my sister by my side. Together, we faced the wide horizon of tomorrows. I sat in my small living room, A phone clutched tightly, my heart racing as I decided to call Ethan. The memories of betrayal were loud in my mind, but I needed answers. When Ethan's voice answered, it sounded different now, cold, sharp, no longer comforting. I struggled against the wave of emotion that tried to wash over me. I insisted we meet face to face, no longer willing to hide behind messages and calls. We chose the park, a place that held better memories for once. Our first date had been at this park, and the bitter irony was not lost on me as I arrived. The past was visible everywhere, like shadows of moments. Ethan tried to apologize, words I'd heard before. My voice cracked as I cut him off. I wasn't going to let him repaint what had been done in softer colors. I told him how he had taken something from me, but that it wasn't going to be the whole story. I felt stronger saying it out loud. The words, my armor. A tear threatened to spill, but this wasn't the moment for weakness. I held my ground, feeling like I was finally reclaiming parts of myself. I laid down the truth for Ethan, steadying my voice despite the internal tremors. I could see his remorse. It wasn't enough to erase the past, but was a start for the future. Turning away from Ethan brought a strange relief, like discarding a weight tied around my neck. I heard him call my name but kept walking. Each step took me closer to something new, the weight of Ethan's mistakes slowly lifting. I felt, maybe for the first time in a while, a glimmer of hope. The park seemed different as I kept walking. What had been stained with hurt now looked vibrant, full of potential. Every corner felt like greeting an old friend with new eyes. A couple of kids ran by, giggles escaping with their youth, and I found myself smiling. Life seemed filled with possibilities beyond my hurt. Little sparks of joy, a soft breeze brushed my face, whispering subtle promises of a future that was wholly mine to create. I welcomed the thoughts, embracing my new path. As I headed home, the streets felt different, brighter, inviting. My confidence grew with each step as I rehearsed this newfound strength, ready to forge ahead. When I arrived home, the small space felt new, as though it had transformed alongside me. I sensed freedom in the very air, mingling with the dust of old, now peaceful memories. Sitting down, I traced over the events of the day, letting my mind rest on the edges of my resolve. I was done with being defined by a past I hadn't chosen. I spent the evening planning new pursuits, things I'd once brushed aside for Ethan's sake. Each thought like a window had flung open, fresh air rushing into my life. It was amazing how uncharted life felt, daunting yet exhilarating. Thoughts of future journeys filled the room, each one a seedling ready to take root in my world. Contentment settled over me as the stars emerged in a navy sky outside. Night had claimed the world, and I was ready to rest, feeling profound gratitude for my strength. Morning light crept in, whispering wakefulness. With a deep breath, I greeted the day, knowing it was an unwritten chapter, a canvas broadening, with endless possibilities. Heading out to face the world, I felt nervous excitement. The newly found courage in my steps was a promise of resilient beginnings, an adventure awaiting exploration. In the cafe, I sipped on hot coffee, savoring the simple delight of the moment. There were still challenges ahead, true, but I wasn't the same woman anymore. Inside the cafe, an unfamiliar man approached, curious, lively. He seemed innocent of past shadows, interested in things nothing to do with old stories or scars. The conversation flowed easily, and with each shared laugh, my past seemed to lose another gripping finger. I felt a budding sense of joy, a tentative sense of trust. Leaving the cafe, he offered his number, and I took it. An unfamiliar flutter of hope resting on the paper. Adventure tiptoed closer, and I didn't shy away. The street felt wider and more welcoming as I walked home. I breathed in the air, my spirit rich with budding promises, eager to unfold the new path ahead. As the day drew to a close, I returned to my apartment feeling lighter. The cocoon of my former self was shed, leaving wings poised for tomorrow's flight. Climbing into bed that night, I marveled at the ease in my chest. I thought of Ethan, but was surprised to find the anger and hurt had softened. In my dreams, the past felt less like a looming presence and more a gentle guiding hand. I saw a future that was gently forming into something beautiful, unhindered by old scars. I awoke realizing what a gift it was to start anew. As I prepared for the day, the resolve started as a whisper, but was steadily growing louder, knowing the true story was just beginning. Returning home after everything felt weird, it seemed familiar, but I could feel that heavy emotional weight had shifted, and the pain was slightly easing away. I found my sister waiting, her expression a mix of concern and pride. She knew the battles I'd faced, and there was depth in her eyes. Without a word, I walked into her arms, and we shared a moment heavy with everything we'd gone through together. "It's done," I murmured against her shoulder. The release both a relief and a stepping stone. She pulled back, eyes searching mine. "I'm here, always," she promised, sealing our bond. And there it was. The bond strengthened, our fractured family dynamics knitting together with new threads of honesty. As the days passed, life reclaimed a sense of normalcy. Unexpected, yes, but not unwelcome. My engagement was over, yet I felt engaged with the world more than ever before. Revisiting old hobbies soothed me, and with each passing day, surrounded by support, I drew strength from deep within. The affair had left marks, but those marks told growth stories. Each day, enveloped by the love of those around me, I could feel a reservoir of strength building from deep within. The affair had left its indelible mark, but they told a story of growth, a badge of courage that wove into my newly found resilience, embracing scars as part of me, promising not to fade away like before. This time, healing was entirely under my control. Reconnecting with myself meant redefining familiar parts and welcoming others into my life that felt new, yet somehow right. I realized strength came from within, through surprise clarity, an empowering parting gift of wisdom from these turbulent times. In solitude, reflecting under unassuming skies, the whispers of the past faded, leaving behind a quiet song of self-assurance. Allowing myself to acknowledge everything, I faced both the traumas and triumphs, ready to grow from them rather than let them define me. Trust began to root itself again, not just in those around me, but deep within myself, solid, unshakable, and real this time. As the sun set, bathing the room in a golden hue, I realized we are more than the sum of our scars. Resilience was painted beneath them. Renewal was slow but palpable, each moment a brushstroke on a canvas of recovery, a tapestry quietly gathering strength, stacking memories like worn stones. Stability settled in. I felt free and willing to craft a future, one built on the pinnacle of honesty. As winter approached, an unmistakable air of change enveloped everything, whispering promises of transformation, without the tether of past regrets. In unexpected moments, laughter spilled out, genuine and unbidden, like sun rays breaking through clouds, coloring the air with joy. I found solace in quiet corners, where whispers of yesterday faded, and the melody of now took a clearer shape. With the shifting seasons came the realization that time wasn't a nemesis, but an ally in the journey unfolding before me. In the mirror, the reflection that stared back didn't hold the old shadows, but rather a new light that promised endless possibilities. When the rain poured, it no longer drowned my spirit, but instead joined me, washing away residues of fear and doubt. In newfound silence, I heard the quiet, amplifying thoughts, the richness of self-awareness speaking louder than ever. Closure came not from the end, but the flourishing of beginnings. Each step forward filled with vigor and an understanding of self. I embraced imperfections and celebrated growth, scars highlighting the resilience carved into living skin. As the door shut behind me, the future felt open wide. I wasn't looking for escape. I was seeking a journey back to myself, inspired and fearless. 2 months after the chaos, I stood in my kitchen, sunlight pouring in. My sisters and my plants thrived, somehow undisturbed amidst everything else falling apart. I enjoyed the stillness that morning, a luxury I had recently cherished. There was no rush, no chaotic buzz of deception and hurt lingering anymore. It hit me finally. I was standing stronger today, amidst everything that had torn me apart. The ruins of what was had not defined me. I called Ethan not to mend the broken, but to lay it all to rest. His voice faltered, heavy with surprise. I felt nothing but peace. "You showed me who you are, and I've learned," I said to Ethan, words steady and clear. His silence spoke volumes. My heart was unburdened. Saying goodbye felt like finally untying the knots that bound me to that painful night. Freedom was a release from shadows into the morning light. A text from my sister about coffee made me smile. No response was needed. She knew I'd be there. Our bond was stronger than ever. Stepping into the crisp morning air, I embraced the changes that had become part of my life. It felt invigorating, like inhaling possibility. Feeling the morning chill and the stir of a new day, I reflected on the honesty marking my life now, a patchwork of scars that had healed. My life wasn't what I planned, but it was truth and mine to own. This realization settled in my heart with a sense of completion. Looking at the sky, I felt connected to the world, and the people I cherished. A smile broke across my face, unforced and genuine. My phone buzzed again. My sister confirmed the cafe meeting. I felt grounded in our honest, real connection, essential and unwavering. With every step I took toward the cafe, a shared history with my sister unfolded, memories of better and worse days grounding me. As I approached the cafe, I saw my sister's familiar figure inside. Our bond, now anchored in truth, felt irreplaceable and enduring. Sitting down across from her, I felt enveloped in our bond. Conversations flowed freely, unburdened by the past. Coffee tasted sweet, like new beginnings. We laughed easily together, revisiting childhood stories and creating new memories. Our laughter echoed, a soundtrack to our ever-strengthening bond. Our conversation turned silent, yet it was comfortable. A shared silence that spoke volumes about trust and understanding. We didn't need words to connect. Eventually, as the afternoon sun warmed us through the cafe window, I realized we were never truly alone. We were pillars of strength for each other. As we said our goodbyes, I carried this newfound energy of change and connection with me. The day wasn't ending, it was evolving. Heading back home, I was grateful for the journey. I may have changed, but those changes made me more myself, authentic in every way. Listening to birds and rustling leaves, I felt attuned with everything around me, connected yet individually strong, unencumbered by the weight of the past. Inside my home, I found breaths of solitude grounding. The quiet comforted me. I'd reshaped my sense of belonging, creating something uniquely mine. The walls of my room felt warm and alive, symbols of the past experiences that shaped me. Drawing strength from memories, I was empowered to forge ahead. I laid in bed, remembering the lessons learned, each one a stepping stone toward this newfound strength. My heart felt lighter than ever. Embracing solitude wasn't lonely anymore. Rather, it felt freeing. I felt wrapped in quiet gratitude, cradling the peace I'd worked so hard to find. Looking out the window, stars blinked in the dark sky. The night was young, full of promise. I saw myself reflected, uncharted, yet filled with potential. Settling under my blankets, the weight I'd carried before was notably absent. I found warmth in my solitude, my journey of self-rediscovery profoundly rewarding. With a gentle yawn, I closed my eyes to this healthy quiet. Thankful. Tomorrow felt like an open road, and I was ready to walk it fully. Sleep wrapped around me kindly, an embrace that reassured me of the strength I'd gained. I'd created a life that felt wholly and authentically mine. Dreams that night carried no burdens, only whispers of all I could be. A new day would come, and I was finally ready to embrace it.